Hello, my friends. Welcome to another session of Emotional Café. And today we have the topic making amends with the past. Some of you might be wondering why I chose that topic, but you might be realizing that we are facing the end of this year and we're going to be welcoming a new year ahead. And I thought it was a great opportunity to talk to you about making amends with the past. I want to share with you the fact that when I do these sessions, I try to share with you my perspectives, my learning experiences, and not from a point that I'm telling you what to do, but rather than that you can actually relate to many of my experiences, many of the things that I've gone through, and that you can actually find your own path to continue with your emotional growth. It's not something easy, and I have to admit that I have been stuck with the past, not being able to move on, not being able to make peace with the past, not only once, but many times throughout my life. It's probably one of the hardest things that we need to do, which is to actually accept that the past is done. It's a done deal. The past is gone. And sometimes we hold on to it and we want to relive the past in our minds, and we go back and forth, trying to think in all the different things that we could have done differently. Things we could have said, things we could have done, places we could have gone, actions we could have taken, when the truth is that regardless how hard we think about this, how often we think about this, nothing is going to change whatever has already happened. That's why it's called the past. It's gone. And I remember the most recent experience a couple of years ago when I was standing right there, not being able to make amends with the past. I kept going over and over and over the same things and the same story and the same reactions and the same choices that I made, as if by thinking it far and hard was going to change any outcome, when the truth was that I was totally stagnated, totally stuck, and I needed to move on. But I couldn't figure out how to do it. And that's probably the worst part of it, that it can take years before we realize that we are at that point, that we're not moving on, that we're stuck, that we have at that place that many call limbo, that we just keep living today, but we're in the past. And unfortunately, it's just amazing all the life that it drains out of us, the energy that it takes from us, and how we simply cannot enjoy life in the now, today. We cannot enjoy our relationships. We cannot enjoy the job we have. We cannot enjoy life itself. And it has to do with holding on to the past. Making amends with the past implies that we look back and we see all that pain that cost us whatever choices we made, or maybe people that are no longer in our lives, people that decided to leave, people that decided that they didn't want to continue sharing their lives with us. Sometimes it's a job that we no longer have. Sometimes it's a huge change that we had to do. Sometimes we had to move to another place. And all that has caused a wound in our lives that we don't feel that we can move on, that we can move past that point. But the truth is that as we learn to accept that there was nothing we could have done differently, that as hard as we can think, oh, I could have done this and said that, the truth is that we did exactly the only possible thing we could have done. Because if we would have had the capacity, the ability to do something differently, guess what? We would have done it differently. So it is a moment that we need to stop trying to change whatever has passed and live in the now and realize that this is where I am now, and actually accept that it happened the way it happened, but that now I have an amazing opportunity ahead of me to do things differently. Sometimes in the process of assisting individuals and couples, one of the things that I have found the hardest for them to enjoy their lives the way they are is the fact that they are holding on, they're clinging hard to the past. With couples, it's just amazing how even things that they have sorted out and figured out and they have forgiven each other for, and they keep bringing it up as a way to continue creating some chaos and conflict within the relationship. And this is the moment that I ask you why. Have you asked yourself why you are so reluctant to move on? What are you afraid of? Why you don't want to move on? Why you don't want to be happy with whatever comes your way? I know you're probably facing a huge loss in your life, but guess what? It's gone. What are you going to do with whatever comes next? Why are you refusing to let go of the past in order to move on to whatever comes your way? And this is a question that we have to actually ask ourselves. Why am I trying not to be happy? Why am I trying to hold on to the past so hard that I'm not enjoying my present? When we come to that point, that's going to be a huge boost towards the whatever is ahead of us. It's going to be a huge push that we're going to be giving ourselves to move from that certain spot that we have felt comfortable. Because amazingly, sometimes we can be comfortable being miserable. We can be comfortable feeling sad because that's how we're used to being. That's how we're so used to feeling that way, and that's what's comfortable and familiar for us. But ask yourself, is that where you want to live? Do you want to be living your life today and every day for the rest of your life thinking about what could have been happening differently in your life? It's not worthy. It's gone. It's a done deal. You have to let it go. You have to accept that's the way things happened. But now you are empowered to what you want to do next. What do you want to do today? How can you do things differently? What kind of relationship you want to have today? What kind of life you want to enjoy? What kind of life balance you want to be able to achieve? What kind of job would you like to have? What kind of work would you like to do? What kind of skills you would like to learn and develop and nurture? What kind of values you want to have in your life? What? From now on, what? What today? What do you want for yourself today? And then be willing to do whatever it takes on your behalf to make it happen. Be willing to make changes. Be willing to make adjustments. Be willing to move. But stop looking back. Because, as I said before, it's not going to come back. It doesn't matter how often, how much time you invest in thinking it through, it's not going to come back. So you have to let it go. When you're driving your car, if you're always looking back through the rear view mirror, you're going to be missing out what's ahead of you. You can even have an accident because you are not paying attention to the road ahead. That's why the rear view mirror is so small and the one at the front is so huge, because we need enough to be able to see ahead. We need it to be big enough to be able to have a projection of how it's gonna be the road ahead, what kind of speed limit will be, how the car in front of me is going. So I need all these things in order to continue driving forward. It's the same thing with life. Stop looking back and start looking ahead. Today, the rest of this day, what can you do differently? Don't even think about years from now, because you don't even know where you're going to be years from now. The future is not here yet. We cannot even predict the outcome, but we can do what we need to do today in order to have different results than what we've had in the past. Remember, you cannot keep doing the same things expecting different results. So if something didn't work out before, if you look back and you see something that was painful for you and you don't want it to happen again in your life, think about how you can do differently today. Today is what we have. Now, this moment, exactly this moment that you're watching this video, that I'm actually making it, this is the moment that we have. And we have our choices of actions and attitudes and what we want to do with our life right now. Remember, you cannot change what already happened. You cannot change the past. By accepting it and letting it go, you're taking off the burden to continue living in the past and be able to open your arms for whatever is coming ahead of you. You need to be with open arms to embrace whatever comes your way so you can deal with it and make it different. Make different choices, and therefore you're going to have different results. Thank you for joining me in this session of Emotional Cafe. I hope to see you next week. See you then.